Starting with computer audio.
Okay. Hi everyone, sorry about the technical difficulties. First one always has some things to iron out. So today is our first of 5 community engagement sessions for the new Wheatland Lodge and Hospice Care Facility. My name is Caitlin Wilson and I'm interior designer here at Barry Architecture. And to my left I have...
I'm Isaac Martinez. I'm an architect at Barry Architecture. We're really excited to start the engagement process for this project. We're really looking forward for your input.
So before we get going with the rest of the event, I'll go over a few logistics. So given the challenges of doing a community engagement session remotely, we're going to keep everyone muted and you can use the chat functions to type as you go. We have Tracy Evans behind the camera to monitoring the chats, but there also is an option to raise your hand. So if you click that button, then it will alert us that you'd like to answer a question through speaking. So if you are on a desktop computer, it will look similar to the image on the left. And if you're on a smartphone or tablet, you're going to want to click the 3 little dots and then a menu will pop up for the chat or the raise your hand feature. So we have planned for an open discussion to gather your input on today's topic, as well as there will be a few minutes at the very end to answer any additional questions you may have. And lastly, if you have any technical difficulties during the presentation, we are recording this session and we're going to upload it to the project website within the next 24 hours so you can view it on your own time. So our plan for each of the community engagement sessions is to answer the big question: how does the built environment promote healthy living and sustainable communities? The answers to this question will drive our design decisions to develop the program requirements and schematic design for this project. So our goals for the community engagement sessions are to understand the social and cultural context of Strathmore and Wheatland County, as well as to empower the community to shape the project vision. During today's sessions, we will talk about the project background, describe a bit of our design philosophy, and then dive right into our main discussion. How does the built environment promote healthy living and sustainable communities as it relates to the site context?
So a little bit of project background. The Wheatland Housing Management Body is a management body under the Alberta Housing Act and represents the Wheatland County and all of its villages and hamlets. The Wheatland Housing Management Body operates several housing units for seniors, including the 95-unit Wheatland Lodge located in Strathmore. There's the existing Wheatland Lodge. It's a facility that was built in the 1960s and has undergone several renovations and additions over the years. While the building is still in good condition and the residents are happy with the accommodations, the reality is that it does not meet today's standards or expectations for the upcoming generations that are going to be residents into the lodge. Also, given the existing site conditions and constraints around the existing lodge, it is really not feasible to rebuild adjacent to the existing building. And also, so the best option is to build in a different site in the town of Strathmore.
So a business case that was completed in 2019 has determined what the needs of the new lodge are. So this business case is on the Wheatland Housing Management Body's website for anyone to have a little look. But as a result of this business case, it was determined that a 165 suite lodge comprising of 95 single suite for level 2 care, 20 2-bedroom suites for level 2 care, 20 suites for designated supported living at level 4 care, and then 30 designated supported living suites at level 4D care. So additionally, this facility will also provide the new home for the Wheatland Hospice Society. The hospice will have up to 6 suites, as well as important spaces required to support staff and families. Lastly, we're looking at designing a building that will most likely be a multi-story building, and the architectural design will blend into an existing Strathmore neighborhood. While the site location has not been determined yet, our goal for today is to hear what are the important site adjacencies and some features that you guys all have to make sure that the best possible site is selected.
So what you see on the screen right now is a graphic that provides a really good representation of 3 elements that we always considering when designing a new spaces. So the physical architecture for our purpose here is the design of the built environment. This includes the building itself, interiors, all the site, the scale, and all the existing environment around it. Then we have the social architecture. That's the conscious design of the services and amenities to support all the interaction across the users, future generations, the cultures, and any socioeconomic groups that are in contact with this facility. The economic and the policy are the regulations and financial structures affecting the facility and the business itself. So throughout these community engagement sessions, we want to focus on the social architecture. This is what will provide us the backbone to the physical architecture. So when we connect the social and we connect the physical architecture together, we become more design conscious, and we can create really meaningful facilities that will have an impact, not only with the environment, but all the users. Lastly, we also want to consider economic policy, because that component will ensure us that the long-term growth of any project is financially sustainable.
So to compile all this information required to create the architectural concepts and the program requirements, we're going to work together to look at the different levels of social architecture, starting from the site context today, and then we're going to work our way through the public spaces in the lodge and the hospice, right down to the resident suite. So for each session, we will use the question, how does the built environment promote healthy living and sustainable communities, to capture all the important design decisions. And additionally, we'll also take into consideration how we can foster strong relationships between the residents and the community, the residents and staff, and residents with other residents.
So while the exact site for this new Wheatland Lodge has not been identified yet, we need your input to define what are the important characteristics that the site must have to really help us answer the question, how does the built environment can promote this healthy living and sustainable community within the site context? So the following 4 design principles that you see on your screen are items that we want you to think about that will help us to guide this kind of discussion and your input. So starting with the functional independence, we relate that to the outer environment and how this supports the individuals remaining abilities with dignity and respect. Then we have the next one is the engagement. And through our site context, this creates opportunities for stimulating these meaningful activities and fosters a healthy relationship between residents, the community, and everything around the built environment. The next item that we have to consider is the health and safety. This is really important because every outdoor design element has to be responsive to the aging body and to the residents, and have to provide the opportunities to support the physical and the mental health, while at the same time minimize any risks. So a safety site is always good. Then the last one is the quality of life. We understand that the outer environment will foster socialization, the emotional well-being, and a sense of self and support, lifelong interests. So these 4 elements will be considered throughout all our sessions, but at this point we just want to focus on the site context itself.
So now we have all the background information completed, we're going to start the interactive part of our session. So just as a refresher, we're going to keep everyone muted and you can use the chat function or click the raise your hand function if you would like to answer the question out loud. So if you're on a desktop computer, there will be a little chat function along the black bar and a raise your hand. And if you're using your smartphone or tablet, just click the 3 dots and then another menu will pop up with those functions. So for each question, we can give you about 2 minutes to type in your first responses to kind of think about it. And then if there's people who want to ask a question out loud, then we're going to let Tracy to unmute your mic, and then we'll be able to hear you. So our first question to get us going is going to be, what is your ideal location for this project? Do you see it in a more rural setting where it's very private and isolated, or in more of a suburban neighborhood where it's kind of private, but it's far further away from services? Or is it going to be in more urban setting, closer to your downtown core, where there's lots of public amenities and it's close to lots of services? So we'll give you, if you want to throw some answers in the chat right now, or feel free to raise your hand if you want to speak out loud. You don't have to read it to me. So Tracy, I'll get you to read them out loud and then we can talk, because there's no way we're reading that.
Yeah, we'll let Tracy give us some of the thoughts. Then we'll give like 3 minutes or so, and then once we get some answers, then we'll open to some a little bit of open discussions.
All right, so all sites have their advantages. I think any site would be great. That's from Nicole P. We have Gordon, who says, I would like to see it set in downtown. We also have Joni, an urban setting close to businesses and services and lots of people. We have Kelly, close to services, stores, groceries would be helpful to eliminate transport barriers.
Yeah.
Terry, I would like to see it in an urban setting. Marcy would like to see it observing seniors' current behavior. I believe being close to services where they can meet and interact would be advantageous. Carla would like to toss up with suburban and urban, but maybe being in more of an urban setting. Close to amenities allows people to walk, as many of them don't drive, which is also true. Anita would like to see it downtown. That's all we've had so far.
Perfect. These are like kind of what we're hoping to hear, is that we would definitely prefer to have seniors living in a more urban setting where there's lots of interaction happening around them, and so that they are able to remain as independent as possible, like being able to go walk out to the store to go pick up a gift or to go do some banking at their bank. Just anything, just keep them independent for as long as possible and not feeling the need to having to rely on other people for transportation and stuff like that. So that's great.
So definitely, yeah, you know, I guess the advantage of being in a urban or suburban setting rather than a rural, you keep in this facility close to the community, is not isolated. So you can keep still that interaction from the residents with the community, with their family. So it's close by for, you know, for them to access other type of amenities spaces within that community. So yeah, those are all great thoughts, and I think we kind of in agreement and kind of share the same ideas on kind of where this would be the best location.
Few more comments coming in, kind of all agreeing with each other. Close to services with a pleasant exterior setting. Urban setting would be better, close to social resources. The more central, the more interaction is possible and the less of an isolation factor happening.
Exactly. Perfect. Does anybody want to speak any comments out loud, or you guys okay using the chat?
Yeah, please raise your hand, and then we'll unmute you guys, and then you can provide a comment or any additional thoughts regarding this question.
Okay. Like we're good then?
Okay, great. Those are really great comments answering the first question. So our next question will be, are there any specific amenities that should be within walking distance to the facility? So any amenities that you guys think would be important to have close by and accessible to this facility? Same thing, we'll give you guys a few minutes to kind of write down some of your thoughts, and then you will have the opportunity to kind of provide a comment through raising your hand.
And even if there's any like specific like stores or services that are like specific to Strathmore, like let us know about them. Maybe there's some areas that we've overlooked and missed that we just don't know they're a great community resource. So letting us know important businesses is great to know.
Yeah, that's really good, because that will really make a difference if you guys see there's specific services that a lot of these potential residents could be used that need to be close by, and if that's a big important factor, then yeah, that would be great.
Other considerations, it could be like, should be closer to a trail system, should be close to a Tim Hortons or McDonald's, where people can continue on with their morning coffee groups. So anything like that is.
So we've got answers again coming in. Physician, drugstore, shopping centers like Walmart, just stores in general, maybe a park, medical, dental, physio, thank you. Chiropractic care, a convenience store, library, groceries, your dentist, your doctors and medical facilities again, hairdressers, a bank.
Just turn it off.
Coffee shops, yeah, a co-op, green spaces, recreational facilities, food centers, being near other spaces where there is opportunity to interact on an informal basis with the community. So parks, cafes, libraries, and yes, please, Tim Hortons.
Love it. Yes, having those moments for spontaneous interaction is really important because it makes you like feel like you're still part of your community. You may find out events that are happening. So yeah, we always want to make sure we kind of foster those spontaneous interactions.
Well, and certainly, you know, I just really like the thoughts of being close to a green space, a park, somewhere you can, you know, if you have a family visiting you, you can still feel that you're going out from the facility and walk around and have a little, you know, stop at the Tim Hortons. So I think those are great ideas, and, you know, close to trails that also kind of helps to create this kind of community hub into the town.
Also just good opportunity for like to go and view some wildlife or just people watching in general too, right? Kind of just keep up with what's happening around you.
Can events be brought into the facility that would support community interaction?
Yeah, for sure.
What about, you know, what about close to some of these kids kind of sports, you know, fields, like a diamond field, like a soccer field, like, you know, that maybe something that would be good to do as well, something close by to these sporting facilities?
Lynn, did you have a question? It looks like you're unmuted there.
I'm sorry, I'm somewhat visually impaired. It just takes me a while to navigate the screen.
No worries.
Well, I'm kind of one question behind, but the unfortunate thing about our town is it's developed this beautiful downtown area now, and that's where the park is and where there are some of these amenities. But unfortunately, a lot of the more modern ones, as they mentioned, you know, Walmart and the co-op and Tim Hortons, are way out on the highway where they are inaccessible for, you know, clients of the lodge to walk to.
Right.
The present location that it's at least allows those that are ambulatory to walk downtown to a bank, to a drugstore, to the park. You know, some of the things that seniors appreciate, where they could sit in the park and watch youngsters and people walking their dogs. I'm someone who is not able to drive anymore because of my vision, so I realize that there's only few things in town you can walk to, and it requires a taxi or a drive to get to the major stores now, which are out on the highway. My preference would be, I think it's in a wonderful location where it is. Lived here all my life and saw it built, and have known 3 of my family members who have resided very happily in the lodge. And I know that having it within walking distance of the downtown has been a pleasure that they were afforded, even though there's not grocery shopping and as much shopping downtown.
Right, great. No, great thoughts.
Yeah, I guess that's something. It's good to know. Like just really considering like that. Yeah, all those newer modern facilities, they are not as close to downtown as we hope them to be. But I'm sure we can find a way to either bring those services to the new lodge, so people don't have to walk far, or just try and keep as close to downtown as possible to kind of maintain that connection to downtown.
Yeah, the other possibility, what about it was if there was a new strong trail connection that will connect where this facility is more down to all these other additional services, that there was a way that we could create that connection to maybe make it more easier to get access to those services that are not necessarily that close by to a preferred location.
Potentially like a safe travel route, like if you can take a scooter or something like that. Maybe that's something that that the town can look at from where the new location of the lodge is going to be. Maybe there could be like a really easy, safe route to where the Walmart and the Tim Hortons are. So if people do have they have scooters and they're able to go. But yeah, there's like, so it's really good to know that, you know, just hearing where the current lodge is actually a really great location, and hopefully that we can mimic that kind of setting. So we're still offering people the same quality of life that the lodge has proven itself to give.
Okay, so moving to the next question now.
Oh, sorry, we've got one more. Marcy, if you wanted to go ahead and unmute yourself. All right.
Okay, Marcy.
Oh, hi. I think any distances out far, just given the ambulatory constraints and financial constraints for some people with scooters, even a good trail system, I think could still create some barriers to their access to those kinds of to that opportunity, just the freedom to get out and walk and be exactly where you want to be. And I know it's a challenging situation. I recognize the challenge.
Yeah.
That's right, because we need to consider how far seniors can walk, right?
Yeah. Do you guys like how far do you think that seniors will walk to get to a service? Is it like a 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk? Do you think some of them can like go a little longer, a little bit shorter? Like, what do you think is appropriate? Like a safe distance for them to be walking, maybe just like your personal experience.
I would say it really varies on the senior. I've seen seniors in their 70s that perhaps 2 blocks would be a challenge for them.
Yeah.
And I've seen seniors in their 80s and 90s who could do a mile.
Yeah. That's kind of what yeah, it really depends on the person, right?
It's really, like, I don't think you can generalize that because the fitness level is so differing across all of those. And I mean, you've got some seniors that are still agile enough and they're in their 80s and their 90s, 80s for sure, and they're still hiking.
Yeah.
In the mountains. So that's very different than ones that may be facing medical challenges.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi.
Has there been any consideration given to tearing this one down? Well, I guess it wouldn't work because where would we stay? But it's too bad it can't stay where it is.
Exactly.
That's
that
right.
is the challenge.
That's right.
That if the lodge was to be torn down and rebuilt, where would all those residents go?
Yeah.
Or like
Silly question, sorry.
years. No, it's good. It's like it's a good thing to talk about. But yes, you're right. So if they were to stay on the site, the lodge would have to get torn down completely, and it would probably take close to 2 years to build a new lodge and then get up and running. So kind of what happens for those 2 years if there isn't another facility ready to house all of those people. So good question. So we're gonna move on to our next one, next question now. So this one is gonna be, what are the important site amenities to you? So what should be within the backyard of the lodge?
Is Kinsman Park a consideration?
Can we say yes?
I see potentially, yeah, could be a good location.
Yeah.
Based on what we've been discussing, I think that would be a valuable location, yeah.
Yes.
Research regarding senior community models now indicate that the ability to mix different ages together helps create healthy, happy communities. It's kind of going back on the last question a little bit. Brian, in my opinion, the ideal location would be on the east side of Kinsman Park, south of the new town office, if the town would commit before pavement is laid. It is close to all amenities and provides for walking paths, etc. Sandy, is the library site now an option after the new building is done?
Possibly, yeah. So if you guys like all these ones, like we can take it back to the Wheatland Housing Management Body. I know they are looking at 7 different sites. I'm not too sure which ones those are at this point in time, but right now it's just all about, you know, like finding out what are the important things to you guys to have, and then hopefully that one of those sites is available that's going to meet everyone's needs or close to. Yeah. So is there like anything that's specific to like the backyard lodge? Like, should there be like some like covered patio spaces for barbecues? Should there be like a kids play area, a pickleball court, options for family skating, like kind of like whatever like big idea or anything you want to see, maybe we can make that happen for the site.
Remember, these are the amenities that will be right close to you. These are the amenities that you probably will be using the most. So anything that can provide a certain type of activities, like Caitlin was mentioning, yeah, those are great, like a pickleball, barbecue area. Maybe there's, there can be a garden. So, a green space, anything specifically that you guys think that would be important to have close by to this amenity that could be easily, accessible for all the residents.
Couple answers popping in here. An atrium, potentially, or a garden area for the residents to use for flowers and vegetables, stuff like that. Fitness facilities, a games area, maybe library, coffee shops, or garden access. Gathering space for families, or horseshoes.
Horseshoe, there you go.
Pickleball courts are huge in the seniors RV communities. Lawn bowling as well.
Great.
A fire pit.
Love fire pit.
That's a nice, yeah, for sure. That would be great.
A pub.
Who doesn't like pubs?
Great idea.
For sure. Another pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all great amenities, really. Just to say, getting a playground also, I think that would be something nice, right? Because family or younger grandkids can come, have areas for play, maybe some fitness equipment too that could be used for the residents. So yeah, those are all pretty good type of amenities could be incorporated.
There's also options to incorporate some public art into the site as well. I think I was reading one of the Strathmore's public planning, and it looked like there was a need for spaces to hold public art. So like the lodge could be a really good place where public art could come in, it could change out, or kind of do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a couple more ideas. Potentially the ability for rooms that families from out of town could rent, like a visitor suite option. Art spaces, like Caitlin said, a wood shop, a greenhouse, some covered areas, raised planters, craft area, or even an area for musical instruments so that you don't have to disturb other activities or people inside. Maybe a space for the farmers market.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's it.
I like that one.
A dining area or cooking space. Yeah.
So it sounds like, we can definitely get some places for outdoor entertainment. So we can have like barbecues outside. So we can actually have some bigger family gatherings out there. Gardens, we can look at doing like some sensory gardens, some vegetable gardens, and we can look at potentially doing all native species, so for little maintenance. and some having more spaces for physical activity outside. I like the idea of the music and the farmers market too.
Well, and the advantage that is that all of these spaces can be multi-purpose. So a lot of these activities can happen in the same space, right? So doesn't mean that it can be used for one thing. So a lot of these activities could happen on that same space. So that's great that can be utilized for different things. Like just like maybe it's a separate building for visitors that can wanna stay for a little bit. So great. Is there anybody that wants to kind of raise their hand and provide any additional comments on this question?
I'll also add from Marcy, today's and tomorrow's seniors' interests are evolving. I believe the future for Seniors Lodge needs to consider the changing nature of their demographic.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
It's a hard struggle to it's always hard to predict what's going to happen in the future, but I think if we can kind of plan for more active seniors who are I think it's more active, and we're kind of taking better physical and mental health, that the lodge can offer a lot more amenities. Yeah.
I think this leads right to the next question, because the next question that we want to ask is really, it's kind of leads to what we're already talking about. Do you prefer the facility to have any of these outdoor spaces that are private or that are accessible for members of the community? Maybe it's a balance of both. What do you guys think? That these spaces should be accessible for just the residents, or also maybe accessible for the community? We want to hear your thoughts on that.
Couple answers of some more private spaces. Residents only is the opinion right now. However, there's also a little bit of, or some people wanting a little bit of balance or mixture of both private and public. Some availability to the community, like a daycare, could be important.
Great.
A balance of both, because it's important that the residents feel safe in the area, but also then having some private spaces for residents and their visiting family. Maybe being open to others, but only at the invitation from the residents. A couple different options there.
Yeah, I think those are really great responses. I think it's important to kind of have a balance of both, so that so that the seniors and residents who are living there do have a sense of security within their own backyard, that they don't really have to worry about lots of people coming in and using all their amenities at once. But it's also really nice just to maybe have a pickleball court or lawn bowling, where the community and the seniors can spontaneously start up a game together as well. So definitely having maybe some backyard spaces that are fenced in, they're only for the seniors to use, but maybe having 1 or 2 spaces that is open for the community to use as well. Or and invite only, if you have a pickleball court and there's a few people that maybe want to start up a league on a good Tuesday afternoon kind of thing, maybe they can rent out that space and they can use it. And kind of just allows some community to come into the lodge in a very orderly fashion kind of thing.
Well, and with that said, Caitlin, I think just even the idea of maybe having a daycare within the facility is great, because there's a way that you can maybe integrate with the community at some point and brings that element. And just with that, a daycare, and why not having an ice cream shop within there? So that might be also a good amenity to have.
Yeah, so a couple more comments here. It's important not to have seniors locked away and separated from their family and friends. Shared spaces allow a sense of community and a shared humanity.
I think that's more important now than ever with all the lockdowns we have been experiencing too.
Yeah. Even like community meeting rooms with outside access to provide resident security and comfort, potentially even like meeting areas for the Lions or the Masons or Knights of Columbus, groups like that, having that balance for both community connectedness, but also security for the residents, or even spaces that could be rented out.
And those are all ideas that we're gonna get into on the session next week, is when we start talking about more inside of the lodge and what kind of shared community spaces that can happen in the lodge. So I'm glad to hear those ideas already coming out. That's kind of where we would like to go.
One comment here, it is their home. So how many people would you really like having coming into your home?
Yes, this is why we want to have the conversation, because yes, you're totally right. Like, it is their home, like it is their backyard. Like, I wouldn't want a whole bunch of people coming into my backyard unannounced. But so it's important to have those dedicated private spaces where residents feel like they can always go without having to worry about someone else being there. But it's also, there's just the balance between being private and isolated and having some space for family and community to be a part of there. So it's kind of all part of communal living, that once you're kind of in a communal dwelling, that there's some privacy for outdoor space maybe slightly lost, but we can always balance that.
And that takes you back to our question, right? Because you want to have a balance to create a sustainable community, right? How are you going to build this environment to be healthy, to be secure, but also to be sustainable in that way? So that, yeah, for sure. I think those are really good thoughts.
Another comment here as well. A sense of sanctuary is needed as well. However, another comment afterwards, it's not a community center.
That's right.
It's true. I know there's some really great community spaces that are happening. I know you guys just had a brand new recreation building go up, so the community does have spaces to go already. So we can definitely focus on just making sure that seniors have some really great amenities, just for those who are unable to travel too far outside of the site. So
real quick, Judy has a group of seniors watching, and they are wondering what the main purpose of the facility is. Is it a seniors lodge or a community facility?
Yeah, so it is going to be a seniors lodge. So it will replace the Wheatland Lodge that is currently in Strathmore. So it'll be 165 residences in there. And so today we're just talking about what does the outdoor space look like, and how we can kind of create a balance of having some space for families to come in and maybe some community members to come in and use some of the amenities, just so that the seniors, the residents, still feel like they have really strong ties to their community.
So I guess if we move to our next question, and
so this one here is going to be a poll, and so what's going to happen is a little poll will pop up on your screen. You're just going to select one of the answers. Maybe Tracy, can you read out the answers, and then
all right, so the poll that has just launched on your screen, the question is, how important are environmentally sustainable design features to you for this project? Not at all important, slightly important, important, fairly important, very important, or no opinion. So you can all just put your answers in and submit those to us, and we'll kind of discuss it here in a moment.
Great, we're trying to get some answers here, so.
Yeah, we're just a little over halfway, so can you give me some examples?
Yeah, so we can look at as having no irrigation set up for the gardens. So if we plant all like Alberta native species plants in the gardens and limit the amount of grass, then the lodge doesn't have to have an irrigation system and use fresh water to keep everything green. It should be able to maintain itself from the rainfall that we get. Another one is to manage all of the storm water on site so that when we have our heavy rainfalls, that all the water can stay on site and doesn't have to get drained into the municipal system. So this will just help relieve some pressure off of your municipal system. We can set up, we choose the right location. You can have quite a few solar panels set up so that we can use to kind of offset some of the electricity costs for solar.
Yeah, so in addition to those, yeah, we can create a wetland to manage the water. We need to ensure that the orientation of the facility kind of responds to the site. So that's also be environment sustainable. So you can take advantage of, of the orientation of the sun, take advantage of the existing, trees to kind of protect from winds. So those are also features that will help to achieve, maximize the environmentally performance of the building.
So we got a good majority of everybody giving their input there. So we've got about 16% of people saying that it's slightly important, 28% saying that it's important, 31% saying fairly important, and about 22% saying very important. So
I guess overall, everybody, I think we have a consensus that we feel that it's quite important to kind of think about the environment, how sustainable also the facility should be, right? And that needs to kind of respond to those elements. So kind of be as efficient as possible in that sense.
Yes.
And Lynn, did you have another question there?
On the environment, I'm certainly glad to hear that we can use the rainwater that is natural and not have to, rely on the town water system. Most of us have grown up, or many of us have grown up in the rural areas surrounding Strathmore, and even right here in Strathmore now, where we have rain barrels and we collect the rainwater, which is, free water for our plants. So the best that we can do, I think, is to try to use, combination of solar energy, rainwater, anything we can to, keep the environment looking lovely, but not be wasteful of, other resources like the town water.
Yeah.
Certainly, yeah.
Because I certainly know how much the residents enjoy the flowers and their green space. We don't need to waste a lot of space on lawn area, really, when the flowers are far more important to most people than just a huge green space.
Great.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you for those are great comments. It was a good call to kind of really get your input on what your thoughts about the environmental sustainability.
Perfect.
So this is just we wanted to kind of share with you guys. Here is a little example of a site context of one of the projects we currently we worked and is currently under construction, and just kind of to show and it's kind of relates of some of the answers that we got to date from your input to date. So this site is situated along a main road. It's close to kind of public transportation. It's adjacent to a residential neighborhood. Also is within walking distance to some variety of services, you know, like some commercial, some green space amenities. You know, this lodge is across from a really popular public recreation space. And again, it's surrounded by green space and mature trees. So this kind of shows, just as an example of a similar project that is located on a site with some of the features that we heard today.
And on that note with the trees, Isaac, Pat also comments that they feel that trees are important for shelter and shade. A caution about the wetland as it does promote mosquitoes, thereby decreasing resident comfort. Just that's
for sure something to consider. Yes, definitely could be something that to look at.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of concludes our first engagement session. Is there any other additional comments that the people might have right now, or?
I just quickly wanted to mention, I'm sorry my microphone was off when I wanted to comment when they're talking about value or of not enough or too much community space.
Yeah.
I know it is important for people to have the space for their family to come in and visit, but I would not be in favor of, if somebody mentioned, and having like meeting rooms you could rent out to the public. I'm not in favor of that at all. And I do know that parking is a huge factor when it comes to the other facilities we have here in town. And you know, parking is on land that costs money too. And the more that you open it up to, you know, like you say, community events, the more parking that is needed around the facility or nearby.
Yeah. No, you're totally correct. And one of the documents I was reading that the town produced, it said that they already actually have quite a bit of public meeting spaces scattered throughout town. So it's not really one of those items that the town is suffering that we could offer there. But yes, parking is always a problem wherever you go, and we don't really want to have a nice lodge surrounded by parking lot just for these few potential extra events. So yes, very, very good points.
Yeah, it's about the balance. Thank you, Jan.
Yeah, Shauna has said that she really appreciated this opportunity to contribute to the project. She expects that it will be a home in a dozen years or so. So
Perfect.
glad that we could do that.
One thing I noticed that wasn't brought up was right now, people that have cars have parking with the lodge. And I think that should be considered too. I don't have a car, but I'm talking to the ones that do have one.
Yes,
Definitely.
we always make sure there is parking for the residents in any of our projects. It's kind of built into your town bylaws on how many parking spaces you need per residence. So yes, that 100% will be there because we know people are still driving, and it's important for them to have their cars there, and even the option to plug them in the wintertime too, right? So yes.
And space for guests that are going to visit family too.
Yep,
For sure, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be parking for the residents and staff and visitors available. So yeah.
Great, thank you.
So our next session is going to be next Thursday, October 15th at 7 p.m. I will make sure the Zoom link is correct and we won't have any technical difficulties getting started on time. But yeah, so next week we're going to talk about more of the communal spaces within the lodge. So talking about our dining rooms and maybe some library spaces. So kind of ready to discuss on what kind of amenities you want to see within the lodge. Feel free to invite more people if you know someone that would like to come and they would really benefit from being part of this discussion. Just share the link with them, and the more information, the merrier. It'll kind of help us with this project. as well as, this presentation, it was recorded. We will upload it to the website so that people can watch it on the weekend in case they couldn't make it tonight. And the same questions that we all answered, they're going to be posted on the website as well, and people can submit their answers as well. So we'll have the questions open from noon on Friday to noon on probably Tuesday, since Monday is a holiday. So there still is lots of opportunities for people to provide more input on the site. And maybe if when you're laying in bed tonight you can't sleep, you're like, oh, I wish I said that. You can just hop on and kind of fill out the same questions again. So yeah, thank you very much for all of your comments and feedback, and this was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you for your input, everybody, and we really appreciate it. We look forward to see you guys next week on the next session.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a great